Hello, Buduami. Welcome to the second part of the Counsellor, which is titled, Do You Believe I Can Do This? The I obviously being God, right? And I would just like to ask you this before we start. What constitutes belief, okay? And how is that linked to faith?
So beautiful series, very challenging.
Okay.
I love the questions that the Lord asks because they are very pertinent to each of us. And in this message, also looking at that basic story about those two blind men that have faith.
Yeah.
But belief is the facts, the reasons. So faith is that I'm going to exercise that I have faith in those things. And that's how I would sort of define belief and faith. So belief has the rock solid reasons. In this instance, we have these two men who had heard about this girl who was raised from the dead. That was the fact. So it was the evidence. They had it. And now they had to exercise their faith with those facts. And in exactly the same way, we have facts, we have evidence of God's work, of who He is, of His character, starting with creation, then looking at Christ Himself as a historical figure. We look at the church, at lives that have changed. So those are all of the facts that we have. We have the scriptures that speak to us, that are historically verifiable and accurate, and it's the most beautiful piece of historical literature. Now, all the facts are there. Are you going to believe it?
Sure.
Do you have faith in that? And faith in the God who has put all of that together.
That is so incredible. And with that said, Warren, there's this interesting thing that takes place when we are at church. I'll speak for myself. So when I'm at church, I get so excited and so amped about Jesus and about Christ and about the cross. So when any of you guys, the ministers, stand up there and you start preaching, I'm like, I'm in, God. I get it. I'm with you. I'm there 100%. And then I get in and I leave and I get to my place and then it just deteriorates. Whatever feeling or emotion of belief and trust that I had when I was in the church, it just subsides the moment I get home. And I don't know why that happens. It's the same when we talk about faith. Here at the church, you talk about, do you have faith in God? And we go, yes, I do. The moment I get home, that's a different story. Okay, so it's easier, I feel, to say that I have faith in God, but it's very much short-sighted or it's very short-lived. Why is it? Why do you think that it is easier for us to have faith in God than actually applying that?
So I'm going to call it crowdfunding. So what happens is when we are all together and you're feeding off everybody else. So you can see everyone and what are they doing? They are funding your emotions.
True.
So they're contributing to how you feel.
True.
Now when you get home and you're isolated, now what do you draw on? It's not everybody else and we're all in this together and that's a natural thing. So I don't even want to emphasize that a lot. Because that can be manipulated, it can be misused, it can be misunderstood. So is it important? I believe it is. The Bible says that we must get together, that we mustn't forsake that, and we must encourage each other because we need that. But that is going to be the high.
Yeah.
And then it is, how do I make that real in my life? Because quite honestly, life is not played out in church.
That is true.
So the only way that we're actually going to benefit from it is when it is outside of that. And then how do you put it into action? And that's the only thing that counts. Is how am I going to get how I feel about what is true into reality?
Sure.
Those are necessary components, all of them. So, and there, it's fascinating because you are using your choice as to what you choose to believe, and you're using your choice as to what you choose to act on. And that's the pivot point, because that's what makes or breaks life, is choice. So you're going to exercise your choice based on what? And that's where the action is so important, because the action is the demonstration, the outward demonstration of what you really believe, and it's necessary.
Absolutely true. Warren, speaking of that, what kind of faith does God honor? I always feel so anxious, because at times I feel like, okay, God, am I praying the right prayer? Am I doing the right things? And there's always this anxiousness because I'm a human being and I've got very limited understanding. But I'd love to know, I think so many people are very curious to know, what kind of faith does God honor?
Like in so many areas of life, the simpler the better.
Sure.
The closer you can get to the genuine, which is, it's not complicated. It is being able to trust God at the very core of your being. And it's not frills and fancy, it's as simple as what you can think. That's the type of faith that God honors. And when it is that faith, then it's going to be a real faith. It's going to be a faith that pushes through. It's going to be a faith, and like we said this morning, that believes when it cannot see. So even though I don't know the end story, I still believe. A faith that persists when things don't change. Our human nature, I want to see results now, and I have to see and measure, and God says, but that's not how it works. And a faith that is going to work when it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So practically, does it make sense that I should start acting on this when it's so big? But I really believe God is going to do, and He wants to, so then I do. I demonstrate my faith by doing that.
Sure.
It's beautiful because we focus a lot on the end result. We focus on the object of our prayers and our faith as to whatever it is in our lives that we're battling with, and our focus is all there, and we lose the journey. And that's what God is interested in. He's interested in the faith along the journey. And I honestly believe that that's what life is. It's the little components and things that allow us to have that faith along the journey.
True.
So the thing that fascinates me is, if that is God's main focus, then why does He still answer?
Sure.
He still gives us those answers graciously because He loves us and He knows that we need it. So there's an issue that I have in my life. God says, yes, but I want you to trust me. The longer that issue is in my life, the more I trust God.
Sure.
But yet He still answers. Because He knows I need to get that answer at some point. And that is His divine wisdom and His timing as to when it is best.
That is so incredible, Warren. Thank you so much for sharing that. And in conclusion, how important is it for our own good to believe that God is faithful?
He has not yet failed.
Yeah.
Not ever. It doesn't mean that He works according to our time frames and according to the exact detail of what we want. But, and then I look at life and I say, here we are in the year 2019. And we're still alive.
Yeah.
The world is still functioning. With all of the conspiracy theories and disasters and wars, and we're still here. Why? Well, because God said we're still going to be here.
True.
Because He still has a plan for mankind. And that plan is being worked out. And we go into this place of panic and pandemonium and anxiety because everything is so bad and it's out of control. And we've been here for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. I mean, mankind from Adam, we're looking like 6,000 plus years. And it's like God's been working that whole time.
True.
Now we come along here in our little lives and we're here for a couple of decades and we're like, I think God's forgotten about us. I don't think He's working anymore and things are just, it's so bad. And it's like, sure. Has He not proved it? Like
all this
time. So that we have to panic about it now. And that's why, no matter what you're facing, you're still in the tragedy part of the story. You're not in the end chapter.
Sure.
So do we have to rely on God's faithfulness? Absolutely. And He is faithful. He cannot deny Himself. He has to be faithful. That's who He is. And He will always remain faithful. So it's up to us to be able to use those opportunities and for us to exercise our faith so that it comes out into reality.